How's it going? I don't know if you remember this place, but this is where the journey began, and this is where it's gonna end. We did a 5-part series. We spoke about all kinds of things. My vision was to help new entrepreneurs. Right now is part 5. This is my most important guest. All my guests were important, but this is the most important guest. He got 34 years in the game. This guy is the truth. The DOT inspectors, everybody respect him. He is the truth. We're gonna go inside and we're gonna end it. We're gonna ask him all the right questions. Let's go. If you're ready, I'm ready. Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of You Consulting. Today, I have a very, very special guest. His name is Mr. Solana. I know this man. I know who this man is. This man is the truth. I want to introduce him, but I'm going to let him introduce himself. Hi, Mr. Solana. Can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
How you doing? My name is Daniel Solana. I'm a federal inspector, also certified in hazardous material. I'm a specialist in federal regulations, and I'm a CBSA member and table when the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance.
So to make it easier, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I think he's my most important guest. So Mr. Solana, I have a few questions that some of the entrepreneurs that I work with sent me, and I want to ask you because I feel as though you're the person that could really answer these questions correctly. This is mostly for new entrepreneurs in the OTR sector. Let's get ready. All right. Can you give us an overview and some safety tips for new entrepreneurs that get into this business?
Yeah. First of all, you're very welcome to this business. A little bit complicated due to the fact that it's a federal regulated, and the most important is get the right service, get the right people who you can identify with the firms, the people that work in this side of the business, and ensure yourself that you get as much information about this business, asking a lot of questions, and be prepared for it. It's a good business. Sometimes it's difficult to start it.
Okay. I also want to ask you, because I know you guys do drug tests here.
That's correct.
And employment package. What's the significance? Because I know that it's very important to have it, but what's the significance of having the drug test done, a random drug test, regular drug test, and an employment package for these guys?
First of all, it's a federal mandate. Anybody who is going to work in the CDL business or in the transportation business, anything over 10,001 pounds, it is considered transportation business. The fact is, 26,000 and over is required to be involved in a consortium with a drug and alcohol test. It is something that we offer here. We offer here at our office. We also have mobile units to go to the site and do the rundown of the pre-employment and also the post-crash after the event of an accident. Driver have to go through the drug and alcohol testing, and we do that. So we're basically doing the mobile system and going to the place or the accidents, sometimes to the house of the driver or to the hospital, wherever the driver ended up.
Wow. So now let's say a company doesn't have the drug test on file.
It's a big fine, and it's also a compromise for the company, especially an accident that the accident happened in one place, but it then has a lot of consequences. For example, it can be a legal consequences, it can be a criminal consequences, and one of the best defense that you can have is to follow all the procedures. So that way, when those investigations ahead of the accident is coming back to you, you are prepared to fulfill that expectation under federal rules.
I also do want to add something for my viewers. I had a really bad accident earlier this year. I don't know if you remember. It was an 11-car collision, 1 fatality. The driver was high on drugs. We did not have a drug test on file. It was a very important learning lesson. And Mr. Solana did help us try to find a resolution. I don't want to get into details about that. But the one thing I do want to say is that Mr. Solana does know what he's talking about. He was able to help me. And what he's talking is very true. You do need that. If not, you could get messed up big time. You don't want to take the chance. You just don't want to take the chance.
Absolutely not.
For $60. It's like, what, $60, right?
It's $75, I think, the drug test. And beside that, remember that the people who you do the drug test is the people that you represent your company.
Yeah.
So a driver is not a driver. It's a representation of the company too. So
I agree 100%, Also, okay, I have another question from one of the people that I work with. She asked, what is the most common reason or issue that companies usually put out of service?
Lack of experience, lack of information, lack of knowledge, Normally, people when they open a company, they just want to drive and want to make money. It's completely understandable. But you have to follow some procedures, especially when you open a company. You are into the new entrant program. You got to be selected within a year to do a safety audit. You have to have all this, what we're talking about, the consortium, the DQ file of the driver license, medical certification. Now it's a clearinghouse request too for the companies that they have to have in the drivers. That's something a little more, they complicate a little more the procedures on it. But you have to have all those steps before they do a safety audit. Otherwise, the safety audit, you're going to fail it and the DOT is going to be revoked. So basically, when you open a DOT, they give you a number, but that's not your number until you pass the safety audit.
Oh, so it becomes your number once you pass.
That's correct. After that, it's become completely yours. You can close it. You can put it down for 5 years. Then you can reopen again because it's your DOT number.
Also, one thing, you also go out and you also do the accident reports and stuff too, right?
That's correct. I do the accident investigation. Some of my customers, we work in a full extension of the regulations. So we not only go to the place of the accident to do the investigation, also we do the cleanup or the containment. Actually, not a cleanup, but a containment if we have to do a cleanup because it's a major accident. We call a secondary company.
Okay. Let me ask you, this is a two-part question. First off, I want to ask you, what is maybe the worst accident, if you could share for me and my viewers, what is the worst accident that you've seen? And then I have a follow-up question after you answer.
Oh, I mean, accidents are always bad because, always has consequences. We just have two recently accidents, two actually 1 week after the other one. And both of them, it was a disease, which is extremely, extremely difficult to show up in the accident and see the consequences of that accident. It's pretty sad. So in particular, I don't have let's say one in mind, but yes, when somebody loses their life in the accident or you see a family injury in a car or in another kind of vehicle, it's extremely sad to participate in that.
I'll tell you one thing, when my driver killed the guy, he was high and he killed a young guy. He was actually around my age in his 20s.
That's correct.
The guy was actually in his 20s. It changed me. It changed me as a person. I honestly have to say that it did change me as a person. It changed a lot of things, and I didn't realize that what was happening. I quit drinking alcohol, quit cigarettes, but it wasn't because of this accident. Really just changed my mindset on life in general. And anytime I applaud you for going out in these traumatic events and looking at them, because I know, just for me personally, just one accident, one death affected me so badly. I can't imagine what you have to go through. I applaud you for that.
It's part of my job. It's the sad part of the job.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Hey. Also, the follow-up question was going to be, what's the appropriate steps? Now, let's say it's a tragedy, something happens, obviously somebody died. What's the appropriate steps? Because obviously this is a business, somebody's life is lost. We have to add structure, we have to fix it. What's the solution? There's no good solution, obviously, because somebody died. But
what is the procedure? I mean, the first thing that you got to do when you had an accident is just keep it calm. Whatever information you have if it's not clear, keep it for yourself. Because normally the drivers in the middle of the accidents is nervous. Sometimes the police officer or the authority who is coming to initiate the report, they may not get it the right information accordingly what will happen. So if you don't have the right information, you just can't say that in this moment, I don't remember. So that way, that information doesn't affect you as much as if you say something that aggravate your situation. The other thing is immediately contact your company and the insurance company, so that way they can immediately open a claim. The event after the accident is a lot, towing companies sometimes, property damage or cleanup and stuff like that occur after the accident, and that have to be taken care immediately by the insurance company or by the company itself. Things that may contribute to resolve the accident, like if you have a camera, if you don't have a camera, then if you have the opportunity, take some pictures, refresh yourself, get the information, so that way after the accident, you do have some kind of supporting documentation to fulfill the accident report. Not only with the person who is there doing the investigation, there's going to be a lot of more reports doing with the insurance company, with the company, with the DOT. And remember, after an event like that, you must do a post-crash drug and alcohol test, and that's the only part that the DOT required both of them. And only have 8 hours from the time of the accidents to do the alcohol testing and up to 32 hours to do the drug testing.
Wait, I gotta add to that because that's a very important thing you said. So after an accident happens, the driver should get he has to legally get a drug test within 32 hours.
And an alcohol test within 8 hours.
And an alcohol test within 8 hours. So you guys do need to know this. If there's ever an accident, especially if it involves a fatality, you need to get a drug test within 32 hours, and you need to get an alcohol test within 8
hours. That's correct. If you, for some reason, sometimes the accident happened in a location, or it's so grave the accident that the driver will be withheld over there for a certain amount of time, the company still need to do the best effort to meet those regulations. If you cannot do it in 8 hours because of the fact of the driver was taken to the hospital or the traffic or the distance between the company and the driver, or the company and the drug and alcohol testing service is far away, it's a good intention. You have to demonstrate good intention, and the DOT will give you that credit anyway for it.
If you have a good excuse.
That's correct. A good intention. You have to do a good intention to fulfill.
You have to make the effort.
That's correct. You have to make the effort.
Okay, that's good. Mr. Solana, we really, really appreciate your time. I have so many questions for you. I have so much that I want to pick at your brain because you've been in this business for what, 30 years?
About 34.
34 years this man has been in this business. You're a veteran in this business.
Yes.
I respect you. I look up to you. I appreciate your time. I'm sure my viewers appreciate your time also. Mr. Solana, is there anything you would like to add before we close out?
Well, the transportation is a great way to making a good life. It is. It is complicated. It's freeing yourself for all the kind of work that we truck drivers don't like to perform inside the walls, and we like to be in different places if it's possible. But it's a lot of responsibility. But at the end of the day, it's a good step. It resolved some of the economic issues in the family. It has a great ceiling for growing. Yeah. And, I love what I do. I was a truck driver for 23 years.
So you're a truck driver too?
That's correct. Wow. I'm making over 2 million miles. And now that I'm at this business consultant and doing the stuff for 11 years, I'm still missing that. I'm still missing the road.
You get to go sometimes to these. Unfortunately, it's accidents, but you get to go. But Mr. Solana, thank you. I do have to say, I look up to you a lot, and this has been an amazing moment for me. Mr. Solana is a veteran. I'm somebody that's also in this industry to help people, and when I see people like him, it gives me inspiration to keep going. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Also, guys, this right here is the final episode of our 5-part series. The vision here was to help new entrepreneurs, to help people grow in this business, because there's not a lot of structure in this business. There's a lot of things that you have to look or even go through losses like myself before you can learn them. So they say that an intelligent man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from others. If you guys learned something from this series, please share it, subscribe, and like. Thank you so much for your time. I love you guys. My name is Sam, and I'm out. Thank you, Mr. Solana.
Good.